Sup, everyone? It is time for this is episode 17 of the Sup. James here. What's up, my man Chase? How's it going, bro?
What it do, baby? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing? Welcome to episode 17. Every week, I'm like, holy, it's crazy that we've been doing this for so long. Right? It is.
I literally only do the numbers of the show so that I can log how time passes. It's actually a really nice way to log in your brain how time passes. You're like, what? We've done 17 weeks of this?
I actually hate that. I hate thinking that, because then I put it into perspective of months, and then I realize that time goes by way too fast, especially once you have children. I feel like it just weeks or days at this point. So as much as I love doing the show with you, I do not like knowing that my time is going by as fast as it is, and especially in crypto.
Yeah. I know. I hear you, man. I hear you. Look, I also just want to give a quick shout out. First of all, John in the green room backstage was commenting on my background. So I just repositioned the setup a little bit today, and it's a beautiful South African day. And I have to reiterate, I live in a city called Durban, which is the back end of nowhere, and rent is extremely cheap, right? I live in Africa, right? I live in Africa, people. So I just want you all to remember that before it's all like, yo, they took our Supra and James lives here.
Do you remember the first episode we had that we did a live stream? You were getting roasted in the comments about being like, oh, well, looks like he was the part of the dump. It's like, what?
Exactly. And I mean, I had to reply to the guy. I'm like, dude, I've been living here for 5 years, and way before I joined Supra. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. Speaking about John K in the green room, we have a first-time visitor to the Sup, John K, or Kupchanko. You can tell me if I got that right, John. But technical marketing manager at Supra, and obviously we're shipping so much here at Supra that we wanted John to come on and talk about how all of this ties together, right? So we've got AI agents. AI agents need everything that Supra has in its tech stack. So stick with us. We're going to be talking about why AI agents need all of our tech. So first up, John, just give us a quick intro into who you are, your background, how you got into Web3, and what you do every day at Supra, man. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, like I said, I actually watch you guys quite a bit. So, hey, big fan over here.
Dude, we got fans? Are you serious?
I know. Even from your own team? What the heck? But yeah, so just a kind of a quick background. So my name's John. My last name's Kubchanko. I'm one of the marketing managers here at Supra. I work specifically with doing basically onboarding, so technical onboarding, helping people for devs specifically get onto Supra, figure out what exactly Supra is, and try to make the process as easy as possible. I work with everyone's favorite, which was Jotun a lot. I work with a bunch of the DevApps, DevRels, the whole entire 9 yards. And then, of course, right with the marketing team, Chase, my good man over here, James, of course. And so I funny enough, I graduated as like a mechanical engineer. I worked in technical sales in the oil and gas industry. And I got to a point eventually where I said, this is kind of boring. And I literally said, I want to start doing blockchain development. And I got down to the point where I started looking back and forth and said, like, how do I get started into this? And, if you guys have ever started in blockchain before, it's confusing. It's extremely confusing. Whereabouts do you start? How do you start? And so I basically took this class. I spent a lot of money, and I got down to the point where I said, you know what, I'm going to start building my own stuff. I'm going to start getting involved. And eventually the rest was history. And I got into a lot of smart contract developing. I worked natively with EVM, and then I figured out I needed to go, and I started learning MoveVM with Supra.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love John, by the way. I know I've probably brought you up on the show. Me and John work super closely, and we don't work on projects really together. It's like he's very on the technical side of things, and I'm not. But we have a lot of everybody at Supra wears a lot of hats. So we have projects that do kind of blend together. And whenever we have conversations, I love having them with John. And I'm really excited to have you on here today to just get your insight on everything that we are talking about. So thank you for taking the time. I know you're super busy, but hey, you're a fan of the show, and look at you now. You're on the big screen, baby. You're on the big screen, baby.
Mom, so cool. Get the camera.
Yeah. You better send this recording to your mom. Okay. Hi, Mom.
Noted.
So cool. Before we get started, we always, as you know, we like to hop into some industry news to begin with. So I think the biggest industry news this week is probably Bybit bringing in stock trading. Bybit CEO Ben says that users can now trade stocks, indexes, gold, and oil directly on the platform by the end of the quarter, which is kind of crazy. The last big exchange to do that was FTX. So you know how that played out. Let us know in the comments if you think Bybit could go the way of FTX, or if it's just a coincidental similarity. But John, what are you thinking on this whole concept here?
You know, man, it's one of the things that kind of always concerns me too, is it's like you get down to a point where I love blockchain. I mean, we love blockchain. I'm sure we all are in the same position. But one of the things that I get to is when some sort of a big news comes out here and we get so excited, I always feel like when it gets overhyped, it always ends up in a way that I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't do it. I'm glad I didn't invest my time into that at that point.
Yep.
I kind of like to let people kind of go first, and then I'm the same. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
I'm the dude, especially now in this day and age, and at this point in my life. after the mistakes I've seen, yes,
that's what we were doing. That's what we were doing with FTX, though, right? Like we were letting people go first, and it just kept running a year, 2 years, 2.5 years, and it was like, wow, this is really happening, man. Like, if FTX is cooking, bro, okay, let's start using FTX. Oh no! So,
when I saw the Tom Brady commercial, I said, oh no. This is a top signal. Right. This is a top signal, dude.
Yeah. That was probably it, right? Like, anyway, we could go on forever about
Yes,
FTX.
we could talk about this forever.
For another show. Anyway, it is interesting, right? I mean, to be honest, in fairness to Bybit, they got hacked bad, and they've recovered and they made it through. So yeah. Hats off to them, and let's hope that this all works out, man. So yeah. Right. So moving on to ecosystem news, what we're going to do is every week we are going to find the biggest news in the Supra wider ecosystem. So obviously Supra as a layer one, we're an infrastructural layer for dApps to be built on. So we have a whole bunch of dApps that are already deployed to Supra, and they're always bringing out new features, new products, new launches, new campaigns, and we want to keep you guys abreast as to what's happening. So first up is Dexlyn. We got two big announcements coming out of Dexlyn, and first one is SupraNS. If you got yourself a SupraNS, a domain name .supra, right, then you can now trade those SupraNS names on Crystara markets, obviously the NFT project. So it's really cool because we've had the founder of Crystara on the show. We've had head of business development Jay Kapur on the show as well. So it's cool to have both of these guys featured here. You can list your registered SupraNS domain names on Crystara. You can sell them for Supra, or you could look out for ones that you've always wanted and buy them. So check it out, Crystara Markets. That is coming very, very soon. I think it's actually available right now. It's on their X profile, Dexlyn Labs. What else are they up to, Chase?
Also, I just want to touch on that, actually. So if y'all meet John, I think you were involved in this conversation, and I brought this up when we had Dexlyn on here. I was like, hey, we were like trying to sign up for our names, and everybody's name on the Supra team was already taken. And I looked it up, and the same wallet had all of them. And I was like, okay, well, I guess there's just a genius amongst us that was like, I'm just going to cook the whole Supra team. I'm going to buy Chase. I'm going to buy John. And it was not only Chase, James, John. It would have been like all of our first and last names. And it was everybody on the team, Napoon, Hoyt, everyone. So I ended up messaging them being like, hey, what's the issue here? Like, why, how does one person have all of our names on the Supra team? And they're like, oh, we set them aside for you. Jatine, or wait, I think it was Sid asked him to do so. So shout out to Sid, and thank you to the team over there for setting all of our names aside, because I know if I would have had to fight somebody to get Chase.Supra, I'd have been very physically upset. And yeah, verbally too. Anyways, but also, yes, what the first launch pad, or the first project on their launch pad, is actually about to be listed for users to invest. Demonopol, the gamified real world state NFT project, will be launching their IDO via Dexlyn's launch pad. They haven't announced the date yet, but will do so soon. I did see them make that post, I think the 3rd, which would have been that's 4 days ago now. Speaking of time, just rolling into being time isn't real, James. That's all I'm trying to get at right here.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Next up, we also finally have our subreddit up and running. The old one that we had is locked by Reddit. And then we also had another one that was locked by Reddit. I've been fighting them for months and months and months to get it back. I finally just said, I'm not going to fight you anymore. I'm going to make a new subreddit, and it's finally up and live. So please go and register for that. I'm sorry, go sign up for that when you can. It is in all of our links on Discord. And you could just find it at /SuperLabs.
Yeah, please do that right now. Go and follow Supra Labs. Make sure that you are joining the Supra Labs subreddit. You're part of that community. We need to grow that because it's brand new. So right now, keep the tab open of the live stream, of course, but head on over to reddit.com/r/SupraLabs. Last thing in terms of ecosystem news, if you guys want to load up on Supra Yield, don't forget the two options you have right now. Solido's cash register. The cash register will give you 15% APR fixed yield, and in return, you'll get the cash token to stay liquid within the ecosystem. And on top of that, you will get boosted Solido points, which will be redeemable for a whole bunch of rewards later on. So make sure you check it out. Go.supra.com/cash register. Go.supra.com/cash register to do that.
Absolutely. And the Citadel, baby. Final one. The final one. I think did that open this morning? I think the final one did open this morning. Lock your Supra up in the Citadel Vaults for 4 months. Get over 20% APR and early access and discounts to projects launching on Supra. There's basically only one vault left at the capacity of 129,000 Supra, so get going. The others have filled up very quickly. I think the fourth one closed this morning at 9 a.m. my time, so the fifth is now an hour open or so. So yeah, get in there before it closes. I think they're only open for a few days, so see you at the end.
Boom. Yeah, that's right. Vault 5 is closed. Vault 6 is open for 3 more days. You have 3 days left for the Citadel. And then once that's closed, sorry for you. Okay, let's get into this week's chat, guys. That wraps up our news. Now, before we get into AI and AutoFi, we're going to talk about everything that AI agents need to run efficiently. So we're going to start with multi-VM. Obviously, Supra is currently MoveVM compatible and almost EVM compatible. It's coming to public testnet very, very soon. John, why is Supra the best chain for move builders? I mean, obviously there's Sui, there's Aptos, Movement Labs, although they have had a little bit of trouble of late. But what makes Supra the best chain for move builders?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, you get down to the point to where when you start to develop, you have to ask yourself some questions. One of the questions is going to be, what do I have to worry about in terms of a layer one in the long term, right? That's kind of like a basic question, but you don't think that way, right? When you first get into blockchain, right? So one of the points you have to kind of say is, why exactly do I want to come to one L1 over the other? And ultimately, we've seen it firsthand with Ethereum. I mean, you get down to a point where scalability and long-term usability is going to be extremely important, right? And so the cool part about Supra, and specifically what they did, was they sat back and they watched people from a distance and they said, look at every single one of these layer ones, right? They're all running around trying to come up with their own solutions. They want to be the first. They want to be this. And Supra said, well, you know what? Why don't we sit there and take what they are, failing in, and let's fix it, and then let's work what they actually are working in. And so the nice part about Supra is number one, our overall long-term scalability in terms of TPS, right? So first off, right, Supra is really well known for one of the most exciting things ever, which is 500,000 TPS. That idea, first off, is just insane to me, because now I'm not so concerned about trying to create another solution in the long run, right? I'm not trying to create a layer 2. I'm not trying to create an app chain. I'm not trying to create all these other things to help kind of smooth over these issues. Additionally to this too, Why is this for Moves explicitly? Well, one of the big things with Move, right, it's a newer language. So you want to get to the point to where you would like to get to start learning where exactly in blockchain do I need to start building my dApps? Well, right, I can start building my dApps, but what happens when I start to get at a point to where these native products that I need are going to be coming in, right? One of the things that's super scary is that things are expensive, right? You get down to a point that eventually when you start building it a big dApp, you want to have native products. These native products simplify the process so much easier, right? I don't have to go to a third party. It's like having something over here and over here. It's like, I don't have to have a bad connection. It's wireless. It's like, well, no. It's like, why not just have it built into it? It's Supra does one of the most incredible ideas where they build intuitive answers. It's one of the I love about Supra. They come back and go, wait a minute, why are we making this so hard? Why don't we just put the products built into Supra? I mean, you have an iPhone, right? What is inside your iPhone? Do we have a camera that's separate and then, you know, a way of calling separately? No, right? We have the ability of putting these all together and saying, well, why wouldn't it? It's just an intuitive answer. And I think for Move developers, I think it comes to a point to where Supra answers questions that you don't know until you go, oh, I'm glad now we get to that point. But it's hard to get to that level, you know, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the 500K TPS. One of the first face-to-face moments me and John had, we spent almost a week together in Salt Lake City, and poor John was getting bullied at our booth by this one guy. He was probably, I don't know, 60, 70 years old, but he came back to the booth multiple times, and he basically was just like grilling John, like, nah, that's BS. No way. You're crazy. And John, every time, and he speaks so well. You're an elegant speaker, John, and he did it so as he's getting yelled at by this old man, essentially. But it reminded me of that story. So thank you for bringing that up, John.
Yeah, it's funny too, because that was, I think, me and yours first real like convention, right? Basically,
yeah.
we ran inside there and started. Yeah, he came up and he's like asking me all these questions, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, like I knew, you know, most of all this stuff, but like one of the hard parts is still proving it, right? Because obviously I'm just vocalizing it, and so the good part is, right, if you guys haven't seen it already, go check out Josh, our, you know, co-founder and CEO, but he also has done a real life example of this, showing it. It's an incredible thing. It literally dropped my heart when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, like there was, you know, it's in the pudding. There it is right there, guys. Come check it out. So
and we hadn't launched yet. We weren't on mainnet yet. So like it was hard for us to even give an argument back. It was like, oh, you know, we've been testing it, and like this is what we're getting. But anyways, if you're watching, sir, hello.
Watch
Hope you're doing well.
And learn, baby. Watch and learn. Exactly. I do want to make a quick response to John. I'm in Africa, bro. We don't have iPhones in Africa. I said I have an iPhone. I don't have an iPhone. Still have a Nokia, bro.
The brick.
You're gonna have to prove it though. So you said you have a spare room for me, right? Look at that backyard, guys. Who wouldn't be there?
I am absolutely joking, by the way. No iPhone. My Nokia is connected to these bad boys.
It's funny. So now let's talk about EVM, and I get questions about this all the time within the community. And now that you've been in the Discord a little bit more often, I'm sure you've gotten questions as well. But I get asked, especially in the price discussion channel, it's like, when is EVM going live? And let's discuss EVM for a minute here. What does EVM compatibility bring and offer to Supra that it may not to other layer ones?
Yeah, I mean, so right. So here's where, right, you know, like I always like to reference this idea as like the idea of saying burgers and fries. Right. I mean, you get down to a point where you see a lot of layer ones in general, right? Layer one, the issue right now with layer ones explicitly is that there's a lot of fragmentation, right? I mean, the idea of blockchain is one thing, right? Is it's supposed to be decentralized. So the idea of it is you have your own, and the way I like to say it's like your own world. This own world that's separate between one person to another. And eventually, right, if I like this ecosystem and this ecosystem has a problem getting somewhere, and you try to go from like, you know, because I was, especially for me, right, it was an EVM native, right? I come over there and go, okay, well, I'll start building on this. Well, when you first start, you don't actually know like the levels of where people are at and how everything works. So, right, so multi-VM, the compatibility for EVM not only brings the additions to bring people over to Supra, which is so exciting for people who want to come over here and start learning, like, okay, well, why would I come over there and learn in a different layer one? And this layer one has its own issues. when I can just go to somebody who's got like I used to always say, Supra is a modernized layer one. It's already modernized. It's for the future. It's one of the nice parts about this is that we are combining, I mean, the ecosystems are still separate, but we are allowing people to be able to come to different sets of languages on one network. It's one of the really, really, really convenient parts about Supra. And again, another intuitive answer, right? Why would we separate every single one else? It's great to be decentralized and it's great to be separate, but right, if that one network could have that compatibility to make it so much easier, where now, right, if I'm comfortable on Supra, I don't need to leave and I can just go use, you know, the same network but different ecosystem. It's like, oh, it's great. It's a great idea.
Boom. You guys mentioned the producers of the show mentioned, yo, when we start asking John about EVM, it's gonna be wild, man. So that was an insight into that. So when are we expecting EVM to be available publicly on public testnet, John?
This is the question. I get this question all the time, and legitimately, it's like, hey, and I guess in the developers are mostly the ones that are asking me this because this is a huge deal for them. So give us the alpha. Give us the alpha, pal.
Yeah,
Leak it for us.
So I don't know if I can tell you exactly. I can tell you a little bit. I'll tell you this. I say, right. So just so everyone does know, right, I'm working specifically on doing the EVM campaign, setting up, kind of like designing, we're coming up with a little bit of timeframes on such. So I'll give you this, right? Especially right now for EVM. EVM is coming up, right? And we offer the ability for people to sign up, which if you guys didn't know, we hit over 23,000 people signed up.
It's crazy.
That is insane. I mean, what a number, right? Holy.
Yeah, for testnet.
And so what we're doing right now I will say this, within the next, let's say the next week or so, we may see something, people get invited a lot sooner than not. We're trying to kind of like push it forward, but we need to make sure we do our due diligence on everything first. But we definitely would say in the next week or so, we might be able to get some of these invited exclusive invitations out to get people started.
Man, that's super interesting to me. And we've had this conversation before, John. How many blockchain developers are there in the world? 30,000, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very little. Like I think it was when I looked on one of and this was in like 2024, I think it was late 2023 to early 2024. The part that I saw was like 8,000 people are actively developing for fun. Right. So just remember, that's not including people who are, currently working as a developer. That's not including people who want to get into it. I mean, it's a massive amount of people that want to get into it. It's funny because even our producer Hoyt here, he even sent me some sort of thing with SEO. And still to this day, one of the biggest things that you'll see is Bitcoin. Bitcoin's the most popular name. It's like the amount of people that want to get in it but don't know the conversion. And I think that is where we stumble. And this is where it's like, okay, well, how do we get them over to us?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just 23,000 people signed up. How many of those are developers, right? I mean, it has to be, I want to say, even if it's 10%, that's incredible that we're getting 2,000 people that are stoked about this. But 23,000, that number is staggering to me. I can't wait for y'all to kind of dive into those numbers and see like who they are and what they are. Are they developers? Were they bots? Were they real people? So yeah, lots of exciting stuff. I'm excited to learn more and see more about it. And I'm sure you'll be giving me some examples here shortly.
Oh, yeah.
So one more question I want to ask about EVM, John, is because EVM, I mean, Ethereum itself is obviously pretty slow. I've actually heard some developers compare Solidity and EVM with MoveVM and how much easier they find MoveVM to be. Do you think we're going to get a lot of EVM developers to Supra, build out dApps, ideas, projects, but then see, oh, hang on a second, actually, writing my contracts in MoveVM is so much easier? Is that a possibility? Or because we have EVM compatibility on a high throughput chain, does that mean that the Solidity developers will just stay within what they know?
Yeah, I mean, so here's what I would say, right? So first off, right, when we talk about the idea of just, let's just say Ethereum in general, right? I mean, Ethereum gets to a point to where you start to build something out, you get to a point to where when you're a newer developer, especially because, right, what's the two popular names you always hear, right? When you hear anything to do with blockchain, it's like, okay, well, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So then people go, well, I want to get involved, right? And then they find out, okay, they go to Ethereum, and then they find out that, oh, okay, this isn't a good solution. Now, a lot of people are native to Ethereum, which is great and it's cool, but right, eventually they need to grow out and be able to leave the nest at some sort of time. So I think one of the really nice parts of going back to it, right? So yes, I would say that we're going to bring a ton of people over to Supra using EVM's compatibility. And it's because, right, we're going to get down to the point where people are going to see the beauty in what Supra is offering and then go, oh, well, why wouldn't we just join that, right? Of course. But additionally to that too, yeah, going back to Move, I think one of the really nice parts about Move, so like I said, I came from Ethereum, I came from EVM. I actually, even funny enough, I was on a layer 2 at a point in time. I started deploying on there. Eventually, right, I got down to a point where I was like, well, I'm not fixing a solution, I'm doing a Band-Aid. And then I said, well, why don't I start learning Move? And this is where we started getting into the idea. Now, one of the few cool things that I think people need to understand with Move is that how Move treats your digital assets, right? So what it does is it treats it as a first-class resource. And what happens is it allows you to be able to have very strict ownership rules. One of the problems, right, we have with like Solidity is you have to be a very, very good developer in terms of understanding exactly the security risks to it. Because obviously, right, MoveVM allows you to be able to have a lot more strictness, which allows you not to be able to worry about, you're not going to be able to, accidentally delete or destroy any inside of your smart contract or your assets. You're going to be able to have this resource-orientated type of a approach, which is just a safer choice for developers. So, right, so when you get to this level and then you find out why you need a lot more, you get down to the point of saying, well, I'm afraid, like, I mean, if anyone wants to know anything about it, just learn the idea of reentrancy. The reentrancy attack is one of the most popular attacks, especially in Solidity. It's like, the idea of it is eventually we're going to be able to get to a point of saying, well, how do we make ourselves more secure? I don't know about you guys, but I am still concerned about my private key, even to this day, right? So that's why I go with, star key, because I'm like, all right, cool. Well, at least I have a bunch of other options to jump in here and save it. Like, I'm surprised that, in general, like when you get into these types of, directions and such, it's very important to start realizing. But I think a lot of people are going to start understanding that Move is very, very, very similar to the idea of Solidity, especially when you start, if you've ever started there and then wanted to move to Move. It's a very intuitive language. It makes it extremely, extremely nice to do. And the good part, right, is we're trying to actually help guide people by creating a course to, at least help people get started with this also, just to get more of this intuitive thought process for it. But it's super exciting. And I think a lot of people are going to be able to go, well, why don't we just do both at a point in time, especially if they feel comfortable in one, right? I mean, but eventually they're going to have to go, well, why is this a better solution? And then in the long-term ideal as a blockchain developer, this is where I'm going to need to go to move.
I love how you bring up the simplicity for the developer, right? Like how this should be easier when you were like, why wouldn't I build on Supra as a developer and if I'm building something on the blockchain, right? If I'm a builder in Web3, why wouldn't I go to Supra? So yeah. How about this? How about you explain to me how simple it would be to deploy an EVM dApp on Supra? And you can make this as simple or as quick as possible. But yeah, I just want to kind of hear from a developer standpoint, how quickly and how easily could you get this done?
It's so extremely easy. Like, I'm going to make how crazy this is. So first off, right, you have to start off by a testing framework. The testing framework either is going to be something like Foundry or it's going to be Hard Hat because, RIP, if you guys have been an EVM developer, previously, Truffle has been deprecated. So you basically have your two testing frameworks. You start off there. What happens is there is network details. The network details consists of two different things, an RPC and a chain ID. To be able to change into Supra, you have to literally change to our RPC and our chain ID. That's literally it. You do the same calls for deployment, same compile, same absolutely everything. There is nothing else that changes. You change two things. And it's literally something you do in the beginning anyways, depending on whereabouts you start. So you would start there anyways as like a beginning because you want to go over there and get your network details and set up. So it's one step technically, but it's two separate things.
If we're talking time, How much time would this take you?
30 seconds. Literally copy and paste our PDF. Literally,
that's it.
I'm not kidding you. It's 30 seconds. You come over there, copy and paste it, run the same deployment. You'll see the cost difference. Right now we're especially in terms of deployment, right? We're extremely fast, extremely cheap. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Man, I could even literally show you an example. I'm not gonna show just because it shows the RPC, but like I could show you in the chain ID, but I could show you in literally 30 seconds.
That's so funny. It's funny because I just wasn't expecting the answer. I was expecting you to be like, not 2 minutes or something. Like, no, 30 seconds.
As long as you have the network details in front of you, it's copy and paste.
That is so funny. Okay, so now what about like what does being able to bridge assets mean for developers and users though? Like what does this mean overall as a whole?
Yeah, so let's break down the architecture. How does this actually work, right? So the way this works, and it's traditional bridging. Traditional bridging works is one way. You basically, and I like to bring this into an analogy so people really understand this idea. What I do is I say, hey guys, I want to be able to I have ETH, and I'd like to move ETH into Solana, right? And so what I'm basically doing, and the way I think about it, just in time like the Web 2 type of a conversation, is it's like saying I have USD and I need to bring it to CAD. So that conversion, right? The problem is even in Web 2, that's really annoying. And I know this because I literally tried doing this like 2 weeks ago because we had a bunch of cash that was anyways. So the whole point is, right, even doing that conversion is just so annoying. It's like, where do you go? You can't even do it at the airport sometimes, right? You have to go to a special place. It's like, okay, the same idea works with layer ones. The only difference is it's substantially harder. The way this works is, and I literally want you to consider the idea of as a bridge. So there's a place that connects from one point to another. I want you to think one side is Ethereum, one side is Solana. The idea of it is I stand right here and I'm trying to convert it. So what I basically do is I start to walk, and what I need to do is do a verification with traditional bridging. Some bridges are different, but traditional bridges where I say, okay, I'm going to hold my money and I'm going to give it to somebody else. Now, when I give it to somebody else, they get re-verified, and then they walk across the bridge, and then they give it to the other blockchain or the other layer one at that point in time, and they say, what's the verification? The problem is right, there's too many hands that are being held. Right. And so the problem is right, this allows you to be able to convert money. But right, what this turns into is security problems, right? Because now I'm concerned that what if somebody takes my information there? And this has happened. People can search this up. This isn't like it's just, news that was old. These are things that happen consistently. So, right, this is the exciting part of why Supra, again, just intuitive answers that I just love. Like when you break down the architect of like what Supra solutions are, it is so convenient. So this is where SupraNova comes in. And so anyways, I'll let you kind of go forward on
that. No, man, don't.
Don't feel like.
Don't stop.
Dude.
Don't stop.
Okay,
bro.
I was locked in, and you just cut me off. You're like, yeah. By the way,
you're just like, you guys ask the next question.
So this is where SupraNova comes in.
I have to ask this question before I forget.
Go for it.
Dude, you riff, and I know that we've chatted a few times, but I haven't spent time with you like Chase has IRL, right? But you riff like it is unbelievable. Like you're basically a Web3 developer.
Yep.
I have to ask, so you're in the marketing department, you're a technical marketing manager. I just have to ask this. Do you prefer developing or do you prefer marketing? Because
question.
It's actually, well, this is a funny question. I'm glad you brought this up. So like, here's the reason actually I took a class into development. One of the things that I felt like I was very strong in, and I even say it to all of our teams, especially when I first got on, and I said, one of the things that I feel like I do is I get to a point where I want everyone to understand. And I always used to be concerned, right, that blockchain is so difficult in certain times because there are so much jargon, there's so many things you have to kind of start to learn, right? So what I used to always say is this, right? I want to be able to get to a point that I can communicate to you guys. So I really do enjoy the marketing, but I also really enjoy the developing. And the great part is because of the incredible team over here at Supra, I get to work with a bunch of the DevRels if I need to. Like I'm literally building a course with MoveVM at the same time as me actually coming up with EVM marketing. So honestly, one of the best things that I really enjoy is being able to communicate to people by actually showing them examples, showing them what is this? Because ultimately the problem is if we have a hard disconnect right here, you're just going to scare people away, and people are afraid of things they don't understand, right? So that was my goal, is like, how do I come over there and hold someone's hand, but enough that I could say, I understand exactly how to do it because I've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, Absolutely. And
Great
you do it,
answer.
and you do it very well. It's like, and I
Thank
love
you.
when we have conversations and it's like you break it down from a fundamental point, but you also break it down to where, if let's say I'm a new developer. I'm just now getting into it. It's like you always try to think of them as well. It's like most people that are building on Supra or building on Move, they probably have a little bit of a background.
Yeah.
But I like how a lot of the time you are thinking of like the chase of the situation, right? He's
Yeah.
coming in. He's not. He doesn't. He doesn't know much, but he's learning and he's trying his heart out.
And he's
so,
happy. Yeah.
And he's happy.
And he wants to do it, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? I
Exactly.
mean, here's the thing that I think that people really over and underestimate the idea is when you start to think about blockchain, they get nervous, right? It's like,
Yes.
what's the first thing I used to always hear before? It's like, oh, is that the way you buy stuff off of Silk Road? I'm like, what? Like, what? I mean, these are literally things that people would say, right? It's like, oh, what's Bitcoin? It's like, oh, they bought drugs from that. It's like, no, that's not what it is, right? It's like, no. Let's make this to a point where they understand. So like when I was at work all the time, at my other previous job, a long time ago, when I was doing like the gas industry, I used to literally sit there and conversate with people, and I'd get down to the point where they go, so tell me about Bitcoin, tell me about blockchain. How does this work? What's proof of stake? What's proof of work? And I'd go, okay, well, but I just really enjoyed it and I wanted to get into that level. And then I thought, well, look at how many people don't understand, right? And they're misidea for these things. I'm like, all right, well, let me get into this. And then that's when, I came back and I saw Supra and I was like, oh my God, like what is going on? Like you're trying to revolutionize the same idea that people don't think about yet. It's like that you're answering questions that people never thought was there until they get to that level. And I love it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
Yeah, well, it's clear that you love it, man. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
People that are good at what they do often naturally love what they're doing when they're in it, man. Okay, so you were continuing on Supernova. We are going to move into automation, but maybe just wrap up how powerful Supernova is as a protocol and what it's going to mean for the users of the Supra ecosystem.
Yeah. So Supernova is a modernized version of what we call a permissionless bridge. So the idea of this is how before we were saying we were passing all these different funds from one person to another and they had to do verification checks. So those cause slowdowns. It's way more time. It's expensive. So what Supra says is, whoa, why don't we just do a handoff? Why don't me and Chase just sit on one side of the corner and one goes the other way and one goes the other way. And I just come over there and I walk over to a given to him. And we both have to show our IDs, but enough that I can just pass it straight over to you. And that's what SupraNova does. Supra simplifies the idea of exactly what you need, right? You only need to just pass it over. And what it does is, it creates trust. It creates the ability of what we say, a simplistic, cheaper option, which was what I would say is, permissionless, or, the ability of not having that hand-holding and quadruple the verifications and such. So it's going to be a huge thing for people making sure that they are secure. It's one of the suites of items that Supra offers.
And we've been shipping. Last week has been crazy, dude. Like, even for me, I work at Supra, so I'm on top of like everything that's going on here. And even last week, like at the end of the week, I was like, whoo, like that was a week.
That was some week, man.
Yeah, for real though.
All right, next up, John, automation. This is being the big narrative for Supra right now.
Yeah,
AutoFi.
huge.
It was actually really cool. I had a call with a YouTuber today with Josh, and they were talking about AutoFi, and Josh was like, yeah, basically we invented that term like a couple of months ago. And it's crazy. It just fits. It works, right? I'm curious, you've touched on EVM, multi-VM, SupraNova. What happens when automation has access to all of this?
Dude.
Oh man, so again, it's just the suite of items. I would say, guys, this is one of the most exciting things we have on Supra. Why? And the way I like to bring this up is, especially when we kind of talk, right? Does Chase, you've got younger kids, you got Disney Plus?
Oh yeah, come on.
I mean, so let me ask you a question, right? When Disney Plus comes on,
I'm the one that watches Disney Plus, not my kids.
James, do you have Netflix?
We do have Netflix in Africa as well. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know if you guys had that. So right, so so one of the things that we notice is that at a point in time, right, you have to purchase it, right? You have to purchase a certain, let's just say, a style of the subscription, and every single month it reoccurs, right? Well, in blockchain, there is no such thing as this, right? What you do is you have to grab your finger and you have to plant it on it. And there are alternatives. Again, third-party services are just extremely inconvenient. Why? It's because I want you to literally consider the idea of wireless. The wireless ability of having to communicate too many communications. Just speak with literally Supra, and it's layer one. It's natively built into there. Let's just make the process simple. So what Supra does now, right, is it brings up the idea of automation. And what is automation and why is it so powerful? Well, it's the ability of you being able to say, I want to do this at this time, and I want to have it reoccurring. The same idea you'd think for a recurring payment. Again, the difference, this is, right, when somebody thinks of this, right, they'll go back and go, oh my God, it's just like, oh, look, it's just, the ability of doing this, and this just kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like, no. In Web 2, it's the same idea. They had to invent that to be able to go forward. Well, we're implying the same idea, what blockchains need to do. And the good part is, right, as you start to get all these different products together, right, you can make such an incredible idea that all these different options of, suites and products that you didn't think you could make before. And so right now it opens up the gateways. What can blockchain and specifically Supra offer that no one else can do, since we have it natively inside here? It's going to be cheaper. It's faster because it's natively designed. There is no communication like we have to do. It's just communicating with the blockchain that it's already built into. It's just a really intuitive answer. That's so nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. Automation is obviously powerful, and like I think we're just now kind of seeing the initiation of what is possible, and just seeing the demo the other day kind of brought it's like, oh my God, it's going to be this simple. It's like, because we talk about it and you talk about this idea, and we've heard about this idea I've been working at Supra almost 2 years. I've heard about the concept and the idea for years now. But when you see it in working as a demo and you can actually go and play with it, it's like, wow, this is legitimately going to change the game. And in essence, automation opens the door to AI. And I'm curious, John, can you tell us what the current lay of the land is in crypto AI and your opinions on it?
Oh, dude, if anyone's curious about this too, please go check out, like I said, Josh, our co-founder and CEO. He has an incredible use case that he brought up. There was one of the ones that I come back and I just think in my head and I'm like, I just cannot believe how incredible of an option this is, right? One of the things, and I brought it up before, right? I'm concerned to this day about my password, right? Yeah. And so the ability of having to have some sort of an option of saying, well, I have to have that inside the back of my, private key, or what, say any of my stuff, right? So the nice part about this is automation and AI. So here's one of the things that I saw as a use case. Imagine being able to have a wallet. The wallet is, you lost your password, guys. I know it's not like one of those YouTube videos where the guy has to go over there and he's got to jump it and be able to bypass the password. And now it's got $1 million of Supra and you didn't spend it on a piece of pizza like somebody else normally do, the 300 Bitcoin or whatever.
Yeah.
And so what happens is then you go back and go, well, how does automation come into this point? Well, it's a way of security option, right? So one thing that that we had seen was like the idea of backing, the ability of saying, well, imagine if you didn't have your access to your wallet for a year. And then what automation and AI can combine to do is AI goes, I can see there's been inactivity, in the ability of saying, I don't see this guy moving. And so now I'm, my heart's racing out of my chest. I have $1 million worth of, Bitcoin. So how do I get that funds back? Well, automation allows the idea of saying, I'm going to, connect it to a smart contract. I'm going to then transfer my funds to a wallet that I know I still have access to because I never touched it. I kept it in a secure area. And so it's a safety net that allows the ability of creating these things that no one have ever thought. It's like, yeah, we can come over there and save a password somewhere, but imagine what you could do with this.
Think about this as a built-in will. Think about this, John. Let's say I am a Bitcoin maxi. I'm worth $100 million. I'm still invested in multiple coins, whatever, but most of it's in Bitcoin. I can now set up my automation. If let's say my wallet goes more than a year without any activity, send it to my child's wallet that has activity or whatever. Think about that as like a concept, a built-in will into your crypto wallet and platform. How insane is that?
I mean, and the good part, right, is that it's trustless. You
Yeah.
don't need to trust it, right? I mean, this is the beauty of, right, the idea of blockchain. It's decentralization. It's like, wait a minute. So I can always know that it's going, as long as I didn't mess this up, right? As long as I didn't come over there and accidentally send it to my friend, right? But I can come over there. You better be homies, right? Like, especially
Yeah, exactly.
right? But like, as long as you basically make sure that your code is written correctly, I mean, it's a safety net for a safety net. It's the best thing that could have ever happened. It's the ability of doing something that no one ever would have thought of. And the great part is, it's like, okay, well, I'd ask you guys this question, right? What if I'm using a third party? How do I start that? How do I stop that payment? You know, because I'm concerned if I don't connect it to my smart contract and I'm not currently paying for it monthly or however the transact, it's like, well, how do I get to a point to make sure that I'm safe enough that it's still going to be used? It's like, well, guess what? You don't need to worry about that with Supra. It's natively built in. It's designed for this, guys. There is no, I need to be worried about this after that. It's like, oh, man, it's kind of nice. It's convenient.
Okay, so you basically answered my next question, which was, why do crypto AI agents need the tech stack that we've spoken about? Would you say you've answered that? I would say you have, because
Yeah,
I want to get into let's have a look. I want to get into the quickfire questions. What do you think, Chase? We have 12 minutes left, but this is going so well, like we could well go over. But yeah, let's jump into the quickfire questions. So
I love them.
we have, oh man, I think I'm being a bad host. I'm missing an important question. Do you want to take question 9?
Yeah. Yeah.
Take question 9, Chase, then I'll get into the quickfire questions. That's actually an important question.
Okay, beautiful. So John, let's circle back. We were going to quickfire questions. I know you've seen the show before. So what these are is we just ask you things about crypto, your background, what happens, what the horror stories, how many times have you been rugged? Okay, things like that.
Jeez,
so just
rugged.
Whoa!
Did you just say?
I said rugged.
Oh, rugged. Oh, geez. Okay, I was going to say, what is going on right now, guys? Jeez. This is PG.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. All right, rugged. Moving on. Can AI finance? Jesus Christ. Can AI finance on Supra be easier than Web 2? If so, how and why?
Yeah. So, I mean, so one of the big issues, right, is regulations and the ability of having to come over there and have to fight with other people, right? I mean, like I said, with Web 2, right, the scary part is that people can jurisdict on what you kind of can do and, you know, what you cannot do, versus the idea of bringing up AI is he's still dying over there. The idea of AI and being able to put it into finance, you know, like I said, is the ability of trustless, right? I don't have to worry about if it's going to be, you know, inside my favor or not, right? I'm not worried about if this company has its own, you know, ability of saying, well, I'm afraid I'm going to lose this, or, you know, and then be able to try to do a loophole on it. So the idea of AI being in finance is huge, right? You get the ability of the ledger, so you get to come over there and prove everything. There's no adjustments that can happen. There's no changes. No one can mess you up because you're using a smart contract for it. I mean, I absolutely think it could be huge in the long run, especially in terms of he can't keep it together right now.
Oh, Chase. It's still early in the morning, my friend.
I know,
okay,
John came at me so odd.
Yeah.
Oh,
moving on. Okay, so basically, I think I know what could be your answer here. So, time for the quickfire questions, John. We have a whole bunch of quickfire questions. You can take as long as you want, except for the question about Web3 being explained. That's the last one. So, right, first one is, what is your worst crypto horror story? It could be a story that someone told you, but
no. Let's make it personal. It's got to be personal.
Okay. So yours is, you know, yeah. So if it is yours, that's great. If you have something related to the Ethereum chain, MetaMask, that'll be amazing. But no pressure. Worst crypto horror story, go.
Oh, okay. So am I about to expose myself? Am I about to look really dumb? Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, this was, guys, disclaimer, this was before I got into blockchain and I really understood these things. So don't come over there, sideways on me. I'm sorry. So here's one of the things I did, right? I did the classic goofy mistake where I decided to do my password the same thing as my crypto wallet. Guys, I don't even want to see I don't even want to see a reaction on your face, right? So I did this, and there was a point of time where somebody somehow guessed my email password and saw that I had emails on there, and they were able to somehow see that I had it was literally with MetaMask and Coinbase and all these different things, and they must have tried. And I don't know how this happened, okay? But you know how we have a two-step authenticator? Well, somehow he changed my password. The guy changed my password. I had over $9,000 in Ethereum that I lost, and he switched it over to this really strange chain. And anyways, it was an absolute horrible experience. And after then I said, you know what, all right, cool, I'm gonna go to somewhere else, like a wallet that I can make sure I'm always secure, like Starkey.
Yeah, that sounds,
dude, $9,000, that is not a joke, man.
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, it was a good write-off though. Good write-off.
I have another one. So I usually tell one a week. So here's a more recent one. I used to pay my rent that was like $1,200 with like 4 Ethereum. So
who allowed that?
No. I would pull it out through the Coinbase. Obviously, I'm not like walking up to my.
Hey, I was like, hey, bro. He's like,
hey, apartment complex. Yeah. No.
GTA 6 over here.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on right now?
But I always think about
it's rent. It's on this private key.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, actually, I'm not gonna bring it up. But yeah, everybody has the horror stories. I have more of them than most people. But hey, I know that, okay? And I wear my heart on my shield, okay?
Yeah, dude,
learn from me.
I go, well, there goes the passionate part, right? I go, geez, what was I doing, right? Well, what's so funny too? I did another one too, where I was in blockchain and I was doing a development thing, and there's a point of time where I came back and I was trying to prove, because me and Chase and James all hold Kai. He's going to be the head of marketing, and he's the funniest guy in the world. Because I'll come over there and I want to ask one of the questions. I wanted to show him something as an example of how EVM works. So I actually did a video. Well, the horror story that I had was I was trying to show him, but every single time I would go to the testnet and actually use, and it was specifically Sepolia, when I would try to do the deployment, because of the time and the congestion that I was using on hard hats, it was so expensive. I had $150. And this was on the preset hard hat smart contract, and I kept trying to deploy it, and I was trying to show him, and he's just probably looking at me like, what is this guy doing? And I'm like, God, dude, what was I doing? And then and then eventually it worked due to time and congestion, and it was taking forever. It failed several times, and I still had 150, and it said because of inefficient funds. And I was like, how is that possible, right? What is going on right now? Brutal, man. It just looked goofy.
I love it. So what did you do before crypto?
Yeah, so
I know you. We kind of briefed on it. We know what you graduated college with, but what'd you do?
So I worked in the oil and gas industry specifically. So let me rephrase. I used to be a design engineer. So I used to do, I don't know if you guys have used of SolidWorks and such, but I used to be a design engineer. I didn't really enjoy it. I actually got fired too. So that was a good reason why I couldn't go forward with it. But I got into doing
We have never had someone on this show say that they got fired, by the way. So you are the first. Welcome.
Yes, and it was the goofiest reason why too. Just so you know, I used to drive 90 miles. So
my goodness,
round trip every single day, right? So of course, right, and then we have a really massive, horrible road that was insane with the amount of snow. So right, it would shut down. So because I couldn't show up, he'd go, "We'll figure it out." And I'm like, "What do you mean? The road that connects us? It's a bridge, right? Let's go back, right? Let's use some Supernova, right? We better just use it, right? Stop using this traditional stuff, right?" And we get stuck on here, and I'm sitting there trying to get back and forth. And he literally got rid of me later on. He's like, "Yeah, well, you just can't be reliable." I go, "I don't live. I'm 100 miles away almost." What do you mean, right? What? Anyways, it was goofy. It was fine for the first 6 months, and then eventually he's like, "You got to go." I'm like, "All right, cool, whatever." What was that?
I was going to say it might be the best thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't go back after that. One quick little thing too is I used to work inside, so I was a technical inside sales engineer. What I would do is work on special projects. So what I would do is go to technical sheets. It would basically be material composition, and what we would do is sell this thing similar to like a catalytic converter that you have on your back of your car. I used to sell this thing called a SEMS. And what it would do is it basically allows you to check the content of whatever you're shooting out of your stack inside of an oil and gas industry. And then it got really boring. And I was like, it sucks. I want to do something else. And that was where it hit.
Dude, it's so funny that you bring that up. My whole family, I live in Houston, Texas, born and raised here. I've moved all over the United States. But both of my parents, oil and gas. My dad was an executive. My mom was the head accountant at Shell Oil. I'm sure you know them. So they worked there their whole lives.
Damn,
and they were there forever. But they were never around, dude. And they were on their phones constantly. They were traveling all the time. I never saw my parents. Me and my brothers kind of raised ourselves. So when I was growing up, it was like they wanted me to take over, right? Like, hey, you can, if you've ever been in the oil industry, and John, I'm sure you can touch on this. If it's such an in space, like if you are a relative of the high ranking somebody within the oil industry, your whole life is set. Like you can legitimately take their position as soon as they're gone and work your way up into a president position within like 5 years, making $1 million. But growing up my whole life, it was like, I would never will ever be a part of the oil and gas industry. And even to this day, like my family would bring it up like, man, things could have been a lot different for you. It's like, yeah, but I would have been really miserable. Yeah, I'd have been really, really miserable. And so I'm happy now. I have a great life, a great family. I work with great people, and I'm working on one of the best blockchains ever to be created. So I just want to touch on that I understand you leaving and never looking back, brother.
Yeah, it was fun for the time being, but we had to move on one day.
Absolutely.
So, like, being from Texas, shouldn't your accent be like a little bit more cowboy style?
Everybody says that, man.
And
you're thinking like
I'm not
Georgia...
thinking Southerner, like I'm not thinking like producer Hoyt, like that. I'm talking like a little bit more cowboyish. Like you're from New York or somewhere, San Diego.
Houston's the third biggest city in the United States, baby. I'm in the burbs. So when I went to high school, it was like me being Caucasian, I was the odd man out. We had a ton of Indian presence and a ton of Asian presence. It's like Houston is a cultural pot. So I think that like I wasn't able to ever establish like a deep Southern accent because nobody here has one, man. It's just it's a culture pot. But everywhere I go, I'll tell people like I'm from Houston. They're like, the only time I can tell you have an accent is if I say words like y'all. Or about to have
y'all.
To.
Oh yeah. I can hear that when you hit y'all. I'm like, oh, he's from Texas.
Anywhere in the world, and I'm not even lying. Anybody that's ever traveled, if you're from Texas, people internationally do not like Americans. Like for the most part, they just don't like us because we're brash assholes. We don't respect a lot of things, and I'm not talking about me in general. I'm talking about the overarching look of how Americans are. But as soon as you tell somebody, if you're in an international country, like, oh, I'm from Texas, they're like, hell yeah, I love Texas. It's crazy. I never get more love than just telling people, oh, I'm from Texas. And they're like, dude, do y'all still ride horses and shit there? I'm like, what? No. Like, yeah, I mean, some places they do, but we have cars and shit too.
Dude, yeah, it's like living in Africa, bro. People are like, yo, man, so did you see a lion on your way to the
kangaroo?
I mean, that's a pretty... Did you?
No.
Okay, because your background tells a different story.
I gotta ask. I mean, I know we're on quickfire questions here, but we've had a couple of comments. A lot of people saying John sounds like Jesse Eisenberg from The Social Network, which is actually accurate.
Dude.
I gotta say,
yes, you
very
do.
Accurate.
Geez. Okay. Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I guess he became very successful. So
yes. Well, he speaks very elegantly.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, no, sorry.
Chase sounds like Beyonce.
He sounds like Beyonce.
That's what we got.
Oh, is that because she's
like Beyonce?
Is that because she's from Houston? I'll take that. I'll take that.
She's like, this ain't Texas.
You can't hold them. You go down.
No, Chase. The big question right now is everything bigger in Texas?
Yeah, muscles. Bigger in Texas. Guns bigger
No,
in
yours.
Texas.
Guns bigger.
No. I think it's well, actually, I mean, whenever I go eat like in other states and stuff, and this is the perfect example, dude. And this is going to be so niche that most people won't understand this, but I'll give you an example that I really realized that I wasn't in Texas anymore. So when we went to ETH Denver, I stopped at Denny's when I landed because it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. I had a really early flight, and it's just something that I know and love. I get the same thing at Denny's my whole life. It's called a Moons Over My Hammy. It's a sandwich. It's got like ham and cheese and eggs on it. It's absolutely delicious. You should try it if you
Sounds
ever get the
amazing. I'm like, I need.
It's
that
great.
now.
And so I go and sit at this Denny's, and they give me my sandwich, and it's like half the size of what I usually get. And there's like 2 slices of ham, literally 2 slices of ham. And I was like, gotta be just a issue with this one restaurant. I went to another Denny's the next morning because I'm a guy of A/B testing. I want to see what the issue is here. Same day, next sandwich, exactly the same. So maybe the term or the phrase is true that everything is bigger in Texas, especially Moons Over My Hammy. And I had I tweeted at Denny's. That's how upset I was about this.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy, bro. Like, I mean, that's in the same federal nation of the United States, bro. I go to McDonald's anywhere in the world. Literally, if I travel, I will just sometimes just eat at McDonald's because I know what I'm gonna get.
Exactly.
The quarter pounder is the same. The Big Mac is the same. Like, dude, I would go crazy at that.
I was the same. Yeah, and they're usually stacked with ham. They were not, and I was upset about it.
By the way, this Moon Over My Hammy looks amazing. I just
are you looking it up?
Oh man,
dude, I'm telling you, y'all should look up Denny's Moons Over My Hammy. One of the best sandwiches. I make them at home every so often just because they're great. Anyways,
man, can't wait. All right, so moving on to the next question. Right, let's have a look here, John. If crypto crashed tomorrow, what is your plan B career move?
I can tell you right now, I'm not going back to the oil and gas industry. So what I would probably, that's done, right? I mean, Chase, we already finished that. I just wanted to clarify that.
That's in the past, baby.
I think a lot of it would be me getting into a lot of the front end development. I think that one of the things is I would get into this a little bit more, start talking about the idea of it. And I would try to basically kind of reciprocate the same idea where I would kind of jump into a little bit more of some sort of like a marketing, some sort of like a hand holding in towards of like development or some sort of like maybe like a DevRel type of like an option, but would be in kind of like a Web 2 thing. If Web 3 didn't work out, I really do like the idea of doing development. I think the stuff of it, especially the amount, which is the hardest part about literally doing any sort of development, is the creativity you can build, right? I mean, like it is endless opportunities to be able to do it. And I think the cool part is everyone does it a different way. And I really like the way that you don't get to be told you can do it this way. And as long as it works, as long as you're relatively consistent and clean and safe, it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, if you need another career path, a voice actor would be a great
voice actor.
A voice actor would be a great avenue for you.
Wow, thanks. Appreciate that.
And James, you could be like a soccer coach or something, dude.
He kind of actually looks like one right now. Is that why you said that?
I just know he loves football.
Okay.
Damn right, baby.
Fulham. What is it?
What should I say? Damn right. Damn right.
James,
right.
what age?
What age?
What age would you do if you were a soccer coach?
No, man, I'd go straight to the top, bro.
Yeah, he's a professional, baby.
Seniors, baby. Seniors. Let's go.
Seniors.
I love it.
You know what? I'll probably come to the MLS and do a better job than half the coaches.
Hey, you honestly probably would, brother. You honestly probably would, brother. So, John, if you could, let's think about this, and I'll give you a second to think about it if you need so. And your answer cannot be me. I always have to preface this. Your answer cannot be Chase.
We did eat together, so.
We did, like a couple times. Had a couple beers
everyone's
together. Rode a couple scooters together.
Yo, that was a blast. I hope you know that. When we were in permissionless,
we rode around the city. We had a couple beers and rode some bird scooters. Okay,
guys, it was legal there, so don't call us out.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. We had dinner, had some beers. We had a wonderful time. It was a good time there. I would not have had as great a time in Salt Lake City if John was not there. So,
dude,
thank you.
Around my heart. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, who's the one person in crypto that you'd love to have dinner with? We've already had dinner again. Cannot be me. And what's the first question that you would ask them?
Can I answer with James? And I'm
yeah.
So the big thing that honestly, I always go for the root cause, honestly. So like one of the things that, and I'll try to be actually genuine about this. Like one of my big things that I think I would like to do is do the ability of working with, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him. He got me into learning crypto, specifically into, I used to do a lot of trading, a lot of day trading. And funny enough, I used to do it on Bybit. And the way I used to always do it is I used a very expensive and specific indicator, and it was through a guy named CryptoFace. And it was, you can search him up on YouTube. He'll do $1 million trades. I mean, they're really, really interesting. And I would love, I mean, the most I saw was he did in 19 hours, he did $1 million. I would love to sit down with him. I would love to sit down with him. You know,
it was on Bitcoin.
Yeah, so he does all. So he'll do. I mean, I've seen him switch between doing multiple trades. Well, he'll do a swing trade between doing like, you know, Ethereum one, and then he's doing a trade on, you know, and sometimes too, I'm like, it's 4 or 5 days, right? I mean, like he's on there like, you know, $300,000-$400,000. He'll watch and go down to, you know, 100 grand, and then he'll shoot back up next time he's, you know, it's 600 grand, and you're like, brother just sat there for a day and made 600 grand, but he is leverage trading. He'll, you know, get up to like 2x or something. And, you know, he's got a possible liquidation price and all these different things, but it was so exciting. I got such into the ability of this, and it's what sparked the interest of why I got into blockchain.
What would be the first question you asked him?
I think the biggest thing is I would ask him, how did you even know that blockchain in general was something that you thought was going to be for the future? Because I go back and I didn't for a while. Like, you know, when you come back and you can say, like, if I go to Tesla, I can look at something and go like, oh yeah, this is going to go up because they just produce more cars or whatever. Yeah. It's like and it's a technology company and they just built this. It's like, how do you do that with Ethereum? How did you do that with Bitcoin? There wasn't very many resources back then. So the idea of saying that is like, it would just be so nice. And so I come back and just go like, what was the, you know, how did you get to that level at first? Like what made you think that this was the future? Because no one forever thought it was. And then it like just shot up out of nowhere. And everyone's like, what is this? What is this? And I'm like, I remember hearing about this a long time ago. Anyways.
Damn. That's crazy, bro. Yeah, CryptoFace. Can we find him on X? Just search CryptoFace.
I haven't even looked. I see him on YouTube. YouTube is where I would watch all his live streams.
All right, cool.
CryptoFace.
Is he still current and active?
Oh yeah, he does all the time.
Oh, wow.
I still have it to this day on TraderView, which is his market cipher. It's called.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it was such. I'm not kidding you. I would rotate it would be 200, roughly like. So remember, I was only trading $2,000. I would leverage trade at 5x, so I'd have $10,000. And then what I would do is obviously it means a higher liquidation price. So at a point in time, I could lose my money. But what I would do is I would watch his videos and I would go, oh my God, look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. And he wouldn't show you his entries, but he would show you just before his entries. Just a little after his entries. Yeah, so he'd be inside there at some point in time, but he just knew. And I'd come back and go, holy crap, like, look at what your life is. And he would even say, like, I didn't, you know, I'm not some like, you know, wizard. And then you watch him do it. And he would just like, he had these funny little songs he did. And it just got me into it. And I was like, man, but yeah, CryptoFace. He's a really interesting guy. I've seen all his live streams.
So, I mean, I'm not going to burst your bubble, but honestly, do you think it was legit? If he's not showing you the entry, that's a little slight question mark. Though?
Yeah, so he'll show just before the entry. So just so you know, he'll entry in. It will show you where he entries, and then he'll go, "Oh, I'm going to live stream." Because like think about it like this, right? This is one of the really nice parts about doing any sort of trading, especially in which everyone knows, right? Blockchain is 24 hours, 7 days a week. So right, it's super convenient. So he'll do points where he'll stop and go, I need to go sleep. I need to go do this. I'm going to go this, and he'd had his Ferrari and whatever. But then he would. No, it was crazy. And he would go over there and he would stream sometime and stuff. But no, I honestly felt like he was 100% genuine, especially because it would be seconds after. It wasn't like it was 20 days, a day later. It's like he would literally entry in and he would show you every single time, but he would be holding his long because you'd see the same spot. And then he'd stop and then he'd go and then he'd stop. It was just, I loved watching his stuff. So I honestly think it was James.
Nice. Okay, fair enough. No, good. I mean, good answer, bro. Okay, next question, which is the last one of these quickfire questions. To everyone watching right now, if you want to ask John a question, we will open up the floor a little bit. We're over time, but we're having such a good time. Comment in the YouTube comments, reply to the live stream on X. Even if you're on Twitch, you can comment there. It'll all pop up in our feed. Ask a question away to John and we will get it answered. Right, John, what do we need in crypto that we don't have today?
Yeah, I mean, I love answering this question specifically because of one reason, right? Right now, when we talk about, especially in just Web3 in general, we have fragmentation. We have all these different issues and problems that there's a disconnect, right? There's a point of time whereabouts we get to a level where we say, we need more, right? And one of the things that I would say is our ultimate goal is to do adoption, right? Big mass adoption to get people into Web 2 that we need to get over from Web 2 to Web 3, right? So the way we do that, and specifically, is by giving the security of Web 3, but the convenience of Web 2. So I'll explain why. Credit cards. How convenient are they, right? Well, they have the ability. Okay, hear me out. Okay, hear me out. In general, right? I use it. I preference to the idea of saying, like, in Web 3 would be, right? Imagine the ability of connecting to your wallet, being able to go to a convenience store and because we know we see the opportunity in Web3 and the ability of all these different chains. And so a price goes up and down at whatever. But at that point in time, right, you can utilize this at any point to be able to purchase something. The idea of, like, I had a point in time, I had a lot of money in Web3. And so it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't really enjoy having to transfer everything. It's kind of an inconvenience. Imagine having a wallet to be able to still do this, right? It holds the preference of using that ability, right? You still get the idea of the ledger. It's extremely secure, but imagine having that. So, like, I love that idea. It's the ability of having the Web 2 convenience with the Web 3 security. I think that's where Supra is actually even, very, very, very optimistic in all these different directions, because they see what we're missing and they see how we're trying to optimize it in so many ways, which is why I always say with AI, this is why it's so important. Remember, guys, and I want to make this a preference to every single person. Remember this. Iron Man has Jarvis. Remember that. It is a strong tool, right? There is some truth to these things, right? So just remember that. This is an extremely important idea to realize.
Dude, I literally cannot stop thinking about the use case that you brought up, that Josh kind of
it's genius.
It's crazy to me. Like, hey, if my wallet goes inactive for 1 year, send all these funds to this wallet, and it could just be a wallet of yours that you have stored away somewhere, that you just happen to have that code stored somewhere. Or, like I said, you're an older guy, but you are a Bitcoin, you're worth $100 million in Bitcoin. Your time's coming, but you're not ready to pull it out, right? It's like that now is sent off to somewhere else after 6 months of your wallet being inactive. Like, that's such a crazy concept to me that's now actually possible.
Yeah, and the cool part is, right, is how does automation work, right? We get to define that time.
Yep.
Right. So with the ability of doing this, right, we can determine all we want, right? How does this work, right? And the nice part about that, right, is we can utilize by saying, maybe what we'll do is we'll do it in the next year, again, just for security, right? even if it doesn't work out, right, as long as you're inside there logging in at one point in time, and maybe it says up on the top of your thing, it says you've signed in on X. It's like, then it recognizes it and it doesn't need to touch anything. But yeah, it's a genius idea. And I cannot say anything more than, but just wow, right? Schedule payments, all these different things that allow it. Imagine when the adoption for you trying to get over there and speak with, like, Google, or speak with all these different types of, but you can't do it on most blockchains. So what do, right? So you go to the ability where people are already there, right? Ethereum is trying to do multi-VM or so with what everyone's showing. But, why is that? It's because they can't change anything right now and they have a problem with scalability. So what is the solution? It's like, okay, well, let's go to a blockchain that is ready. Let's not wait.
I love it, man. I'm excited. I'm also excited about this next question.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Are you ready? And I'll give you a little bit of a briefing so you can, like, think about your answer. If you had to explain Web3 to your grandma in 10 seconds, how would you do it? And don't think that I'm not.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't play.
Think about this.
Exactly. I'm going to give you a little bit of a briefing, and I will say that we've had some decent answers on here. we've had some pretty good answers on here actually, and I'm expecting a good one from you. So don't fail me now. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Okay, give me a second then. Okay, moment of silence.
Good luck. Yeah, it is a hard one, bro. Chase and I failed. We failed, bro.
Yeah, I think James like started talking and then just stopped. He was like, "You gotta."
No, because you guys are like, time's up.
Well, you went 10 seconds, baby.
Screw this, man. I'm done, bro. I'm over it.
All right, you ready? I think you're ready.
Okay, I'm just gonna wing it.
All right, yeah, you have to wing it.
So,
all right, whenever you start talking is whenever I'm gonna start. Press go, and I'm just gonna say whenever. Start whenever.
Okay, so I would say, hey grandma. So the ability, hey grandma, hey grams, hey, the ability of not being able to have a permissionless. I see. I don't. Yo, I can't do it when you're staring.
Get out of here! Get out of here!
To the club.
Why do you stare at me in the eyes? I should stop looking at you and look over here instead.
Yeah, it looks like your grandma still doesn't know.
Don't look
looks
at
like
the
your grandma
screen.
still doesn't know
That's
what
crazy right now. This is. I feel like this is rigged.
Sorry, Grams. Looks like you're not investing in Bitcoin this year.
And then I kept thinking too in my head, I was trying to explain like the ability of that, and I was like, well, Grandma's not going to know that.
Nope.
So I was like,
yeah, I know.
Would you like a rebuttal?
No, because you know what? You're a bully. That's why. You're here to set me up again, right?
Dude, listen, clock don't lie. Clock don't lie. That's all I'm saying.
You should have prepped me for these
No.
For these questions.
I'm not going to prep you on some rapid fire questions. You should just be able to say, "Hey, Grams,
Grammy,
bro can't get away with that one because I saw his little face was the first face in the Google Doc, by the way. At about 20.
You didn't. Hey, 25. That's not fair. Okay, you were cranking. It wasn't there, and I was talking to Hoyt because we were trying to make adjustments. And I hope you know, I told our producer Hoyt that James right now is last minuting it right now. Okay, he's doing it while the teacher's coming by collecting her paper.
Dude, hey, those bus wheels are looking a little red today. Sorry, James.
I got just roasted, bro. What is this? The roast of Supra team members? Damn, bro. Okay, so basically, folks, John failed that one. Moving on. Now, we are looking for user questions. We don't have a lot, to be perfectly honest. I'm not sure if Napoon, if you saw any. That specific estate planning use case right now, the solution is centralized with intermediaries. Okay, so you've put that up. Our producers put that up. So let's just go with it. So the specific estate planning use case right now, the solution is centralized with intermediaries. AutoFi will solve that, fully decentralized. Can you make sense of this question, John? This point?
So funny enough, I actually did a video this a long time ago on a YouTube video I did. So one of the nice parts about this is, trying to get to a point to where AutoFi, and this is where the smart contract comes in. So, what we do is we basically say that we are going to purchase, a house, right? Me and you, Chase, I'm going to buy your house right now, okay? Is what I'm planning on doing. At a point in time, what I do is I have to say that there's a smart contract that basically says, if these conditions get met, then X, Y, and Z. Automation would be able to solve this by saying, as long as your condition has been met and my condition has been met, automation will automatically pass over the deed to me. Or if I wanted to do it's going to be in the future maybe. So the idea of saying I'll just get an NFT as a representation. And then, that is kind of my symbolization of saying I have this. And then additions to it too, I can have some sort of a, the deed additionally to maybe they email it to me because I'm, whatever. So the idea is that, you can have the ability of having, as long as we basically have both a checklist on everything done, we would allow automation to be able to pass things from A to B. And, I get the money, I give the money, the other person would I receive the deed, right? So they receive the money. And anyways, you'd have automation because it's the ability of a trustless where you don't need to worry about it as long as the conditions are met, right? And I think that's where I'm kind of coming to be. But yeah, fully decentralized would be a huge thing, right? It shows the transaction, it shows everything. I don't need a big, slamming, I don't know if you guys ever, I'm sure you guys have, you guys are, James is in heaven right now. I see where his house is at. But obviously you guys have purchased a house before. The amount of pages you get, imagine not being able to do that, doing it all through written code and having the ability of just saying, all right, here's this big stack that I'm just going to throw away. And instead I can look on a ledger to confirm transactions, and we can call events to be able to use this. for confirmations.
Boom. Great answer, man.
Boom.
Nice.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Damn.
I beat the 10-second one. That was better than the second one, right?
All right, I got another one for you. This
All
one
right.
is for Mang Pwit. If AutoFi can truly decentralize estate planning, what other real-world sectors do you see being disrupted next by Supra's AI agents?
Yeah,
Great
I mean,
question.
yeah. So, I mean, so we have to stem from the idea of saying whereabouts are we in general, right? So we said, some sort of a set of real estate because, right, we have to receive some sort of like a deed or we have to receive some sort of verification. Ultimately, imagine medical, right? I mean, like the ability of having automation and, I know because I know a lot of people who do this in terms of it, but billing. Imagine not having to be able to do this. The billing comes through. You can check the transaction through everything. You don't need to have some intermediary. You can have AutoFi set it all up for you as long as you basically portray correctly. You go through each section of whatever the people are inside right now. And I think the cool part, right, is ultimately it can be almost utilized in everything. Car parts. I mean, the ability of not just houses. I mean, like what can it not? I guess would be more the question.
Yeah, that's a really great point.
Damn. All right, next one. From CTTX1, which we did kind of cover, but I think it'd be cool for you to respond to CTTX.
I agree. Live.
He says, not sure if you guys have any details about this, but when will Supra EVM be available for everyone instead of invite only? I sent a request a few times to get involved, nothing yet. Sorry if this is not the right space for this question. This is a great space for the question, sir.
Yeah, so I do know the answer to this, but because, right, we want one of the big things that we need to really make sure, which is why we have such a good darn dev team, and we try to do our checks and balances with everything to make sure that everything is running correctly. But ultimately, that's a very good question. I don't know if I can specifically say it. I'll say this, right? It's got I don't know if I can actually. I don't know. I should probably actually wait just because things are coming out so fast and all these different products are moving. And I don't want to get to a point where
drop the alpha, bro.
You want me to just do it? You want me to just say it, guys? You're trying to don't Tom Holland me. Am I about to spoil this right now?
Soon.
Come on.
Let's say this, okay? Right now, an estimated time is estimated, guys. Take this as a preference. Estimated time is supposed to be early to middle of June.
Boom. There you go.
I'll take that.
So hard.
Yeah.
So difficult.
I'll take that, baby.
No, I hope you guys know if somebody comes after me, I'm blaming it on you two, okay? I was peer pressured.
Bro, I got so many people in my DMs anyway. I can handle it. It's like all right, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. There's no more questions. So, John, absolutely amazing, brother. Thank you so much for giving us well over an hour of your time. You kicked butt, bro. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys. No,
hey, wait a minute. Let's bring it back. We got a team. Wait. Turn that music off.
Yes, the music. It's over. The music's
what's going on right now?
Oh. Yeah, one final question.
When you hear the music, John, when you hear the music, it's over. It's like it's your Oscar speech, you know? Like, I would like to thank my mom and then when the music starts, your mic is going off, bro.
We got one final question coming in from a team member, Jason Lee. How much time will it take a new intermediate advanced builder to learn how to build on AutoFi plus AI agents?
So that's a very good question, Jason Lee. I appreciate your time and I appreciate your question. So here's one of the things I have right now. Because I have such an incredible team right now and we have a lot of resources coming forward. Right now, we have Mr. Jason Lee is also one of the ones working with us. And so is a lot of the devs. But right now, our goal is to start making realistic videos for devs to get started. Overall, as long as you guys are comfortable with the CLI, which we will make sure that we have very convenient and easy videos to move forward on. Like I said, we have incredible devs, right? We have Jotin and Nolan. I'm sure eventually you'll probably have Nolan on here too. But there's going to be at a point to where we're planning on having all these dev setups, making sure that we have the bulletproof. Remember, right? Everything is new right now. We have bulletproof documentation. We want to make sure we have video set up. We want to make sure we have a full list of all these different things. Plus, We might have a bunch of others right now that we have 2 to help join in. So, I mean, the amount of time that it will take, if we can get everything right in the next little while, I mean, as long as you got your CLI set up on Super CLI, it'll take you, seriously, I'm not kidding you, within less than 30 minutes, because the smart contract is very simple to make. All you do is call for it to be triggered. And then basically you go through Super CLI or through a different call. And we have 2 different versions of that. And I think, you know, like I said, we have a good team right now kind of working forward to make sure we have the resources for this. It's a goal, 30 minutes. You know, that's first time, right? Of course, right? The second time is going to be 5. But
Love it.
Wow. Let's go. Good luck, Jason. 30 minutes, bro. We're going to be timing you, bro. We're going to get Jason on the show. We're going to time him doing that live. All right.
Easy.
John, thank you. Any final comments from you, bro?
No, I just want to say, first off, thank you guys all so much. I want to say one thing. Just make sure that you guys are recognizing the ability of what Supra is offering, because I think sometimes we do kind of push over on it. You know, at a point in time, our goal is to make this extremely convenient for developers, to get people started, get people joined. You know, so, you know, we love everything that's going on, and, you know, we're very excited to see what Supra is going to be able to offer in the next few years. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, James. Thank you, Hoyt. Thank you, Napoon. Thank you, Super Team.
Thank you, guys. We'll catch y'all next week. Same time, same place. Mang P-Wit, get your questions in earlier.
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, John. It was a pleasure, brother. James, love you, baby. I love y'all so much, and I'll see you later.
Thank you,
Peace.
guys.
What's up, baby?